Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call our regular town board meeting of July 13th to order. Would everybody please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve our prior minutes for June 16th, 2015, our special town board meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I'll make a motion to approve our prior minutes for our June 22nd, 2015 regular town board meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I'll make a motion to approve our prior minutes from our June 23rd special board meeting. May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Okay. Any announcements? Anybody? Our Board of Assessment review determinations are all in, and we posted them on our web. Under our assessor, or on our Board of Assessment review page. So there's a detailed report there if anyone would like to go on and see it. Any committee or liaison reports?
I just got a couple things. I sent Chrissy Amy the information on the fire contracts. There's some questions, so we're going to talk later this week sometime. Vanderburg Cove, we're having trouble getting contractors to do the repairs. Looks like one of the original contractors we may be able to get. Some of us are going to put the ditches in this week for the sand filters. I went to the village meeting on the water district. They have about $2 million worth of repairs they need to do. They need to create a town water district, it sounds like, or get us to create a town water district. But first they need to understand who owns the pipes outside of the village, where they are, and there's a lot of things. But it's very much like the discussion we had about the fire district, where it's who really can do what with the capital. So there's more to come.
We're listening to come.
Yeah.
Thank you for going. Could you forward that information to all of us?
Yeah, if
The
you want
fire
copies of
information?
my notes.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, the fire, what you passed on to
Oh, fire,
the EMS,
okay.
yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, but just a question for Bruce. They're eventually going to come and explain to all of us when they figure out what they want to do on the water. We're going to have some big meeting with them?
Yeah, I mean, Elizabeth and I met with them, and then they had a follow-on meeting with their bond attorneys, and I went to that. And there's different options, and Warren was at the first meeting. We have to do it at a time.
It's a moving target.
Yeah.
Two things. Tomorrow, assuming we pass the resolution awarding the heating contract, we're going to do a walkthrough with the winning bidder. And Elizabeth, if you're around at 9 o'clock to sign the contract, or if not, I'll sign the contract while they're here and give them the go-ahead to start work. They need that in order to get the performance bond, which I believe they'll promptly get. The Affordable Workforce Housing Committee has been meeting. I think the meetings are starting to crystallize thinking, and I think the committee probably in the next 2 to 3 months will come in with some recommendations and a tentative plan on how to proceed.
Great. Anybody else? I would like to make a motion for Resolution 2015-165, our preliminary abstracts vouchers, 692 through 810, 78 checks totaling $103,551.76. May I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I would like to make a motion for Resolution 2015-166 for a preliminary capital project accounts payable abstracts, 2 checks totaling $28,029. May I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I would like to make a motion for Resolution 2015-167, accepting the revised mining overlay local law. May I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
I think there is discussion. I think in light of new information we've received and the fact that we still don't seem to have all the information we need, we don't have a cohesive document yet. We're presented with a document that still needs changes where there were contradictions and some mistakes that have to be addressed before we can look at this. So I'd like to make a motion to table this so that we can address and correct those problems.
Anybody else?
I think that's correct, that I don't think it's in a form that it's ready. I don't think we're losing any time because in our August meeting, some people won't be here, so I don't think it's a matter of time. It doesn't throw any schedule off kilter, so.
Bruce?
I'm fine with holding it over.
Oh, my.
We have an open resolution. Would anybody like to propose another resolution? Or we have an open resolution
That we
to accept.
continue working on
Right.
it
Would you
with
like to
our
propose?
attorneys.
Okay, so you make a motion to,
I move that we continue to work with our attorneys to come up with a
we're not,
resolution.
we're tabling the resolution. We're not bringing,
I
no.
second it. Well, he just made a new motion.
This is a motion that we continue to work on a resolution.
Second her motion to table it.
It's just, we have an open resolution. We're going to table the open resolution.
Motion to table, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm opposed. So moved.
Excuse me, can we ask a question?
Sure. Could you come up and introduce yourself? And
My name is Paula Trimble. Elaine, you just said you don't have all the information you need. I'm just wondering, what more can you need after all these months?
We've had conversations with our attorneys who have been drafting documents, and some of the documents we were presented with tonight had errors, factual errors. Some just had mistakes that we just caught in the meeting before we came out here. So it's attorney-client privileged information, but I can assure you that there were some corrections that needed to be made that we just talked to the attorney about.
Is this document that needs correction the one that was sent out on Friday?
yes.
Yes.
No, this is a different, my understanding from the meeting was that there was another one there were 2 of them. One was sent out on Friday, but then there were corrections that were supposed to be made, and the corrections were not made with the one we were told was the final copy.
The document that we are dealing with is a document that we were dealing with in the meeting with Warren, and it's
Right.
the one that was sent out to the public.
But in the meeting that we just had with Warren, there were changes that were supposed to be made to that document that were not made. So that's what I'm addressing, so there's probably
I'm
just...
not sure about that, but okay. The changes to this document was going to be in the purpose clause, not the substance of the law. And there's some majority wanting to simplify the purpose clause, and I think the substance of the law as well, correct?
Yes.
Simplify it, yeah.
But there's no change to the map, no change to the substance of the law at all.
Just more and more lopsided.
You know, I think the important thing, and this is just from my own perspective as a board member, this is a very complicated issue, and we've had numerous meetings with our attorneys over this. It's very complex, and I feel like the more we learn about, the more questions come up. It's really important that this get done right. It's not about getting it done quickly. It's about getting it done right, and I think there's a commitment to do that.
No one has said that.
But that's the issue. Right, so it's not pushing...
It took a whole year last year when we were doing things.
Paula, do you want to step at the...
There's a lot involved in this. It's not as simple as it might appear. And I think that it's important to have it done right, not quickly. It's not about a time frame. It's about doing the right thing.
So I just want to point out that last year, all of 2014, since March, you guys were working on this. And you were going slowly to make sure every T was crossed, every I was dotted. And we understood that. But now we've got a whole nother year, or a whole nother half year.
There's still information that's coming up. It's not as if there's a living, breathing document that's ready for a vote. There are still questions that come up in the documents we're presented with that don't have answers, that we need answers to. And our
I feel like you
attorneys-
folks
and then
haven't worked on it.
But I'm trying to tell you what's happening. I'm trying to answer your question very honestly. We are working on it. We're working on it all the time. In fact, our attorneys are working on it all the time. We have to work around their schedules as well. This is not about putting anything off. It's about doing our due diligence and making sure that we have every piece of information that we can feel confident we're making the right decision for everyone. That's important. This is a huge issue. That's what's taking a while. That's the only thing that's taking a while, is making sure it gets done right to the best of our ability. I think that's important for the whole town.
For what it's
It's
worth,
important
we
for the
have
whole
not
town, too.
forgotten about the issue. Believe us, that we spent hours and hours either individually thinking about it or talking to our attorneys and getting advice. So I understand.
I just beg you.
Let me just finish. That people are impatient, but we're really trying the best.
I
that
just
we
beg you to
can.
consider people are not impatient, they are frustrated, and it has been a long time.
You know, we've had two attorneys who have different styles and different points of view, and I think that has held us up a little bit, and I think we have a resolution. We have 2 meetings scheduled while I'm away. I'm going to be away on vacation for the board to work with Warren to simplify this law. And it will be, we're looking for less legalese and less of a purpose clause. Come on up.
I realize we're talking about our subject. I just want to know, is there like an attempt, an ETA, kind of like, a date you're looking forward to from this point on to have a vote or make a decision, or is there anything?
I believe there is. We would like every board member we won't vote on it unless we have a full board. I believe one board member won't be here in August, so we'll have to look at September unless we can schedule a special meeting in August. We need 7 days after we receive the law to schedule a meeting. I'm on vacation now until the first week in August. So we could still shoot for August if we have everyone in attendance at a meeting. If not, it will be in September. As long as every board member is here.
And as long as we're ready.
I guess the
Thank
one
you,
thing I
Joe.
would like
Thank
to
you.
say is that at some point, if the complexity has to deal with issues dealing with the law, its application, what it's intended to do, these are matters you need to discuss in open meetings so that we understand what your concerns are. At some point, you have to recognize that fear of litigation is not a legitimate cause not to act in the public interest.
Michael,
And quite
you're putting
frankly,
words in our mouths.
and
No,
quite frankly, allow me to
don't
finish,
interrupt.
please. And quite frankly, because you have not discussed any of these issues of complexity that you feel are holding you up, That is the impression that is given, that it is strictly fear of litigation. So at some point, in your own best interest, and I think what you owe to the public, is to speak to what these issues are that you feel are so difficult, because those are issues we should all be aware of, and you might be surprised to find that people here might be able to help you with answers to those.
Michael, I just want to say, this has nothing at all. What's held this up, we're not in there talking about, oh my gosh, what are we going to do if we get sued? We could have had that done a long time ago, because there are specific answers to that question. It's about what are the ramifications of each avenue we're going down with this bill? What are the potential ramifications? Who do they affect and how? And if questions come up that we can't answer, we involve our attorneys, and then our attorneys might have differing opinions. This is much bigger than that. I mean, I hope you don't think it's so superficial that all we have to think about is whether or not the town's going to be sued. I mean, there are lots of lives that are going to be affected by the passage of such a law. And I'll tell you, it's really troublesome, because you say that as if this is a fact, and that goes out into the media. I'm getting these emails, swarms. I read the articles. I never even talk to the media, and it's astounding to me to see how my opinion is represented out there by people who've never even asked me my opinion. I've not once been asked my opinion, but everybody seems to assume that I'm for big-scale mining because I have questions. I think that makes me a responsible board member. It's the reason I'm here, to do my best job to represent all the people in the town of Rhinebeck, and that involves being really clear about what you're voting on and what it means and who it's going to affect. Everybody.
We are asking your opinion. We want your opinion.
So that's the bottom line. This is much bigger. This is not about money. Money's a part of it. Of course it is. It's not what this is about, though. This is a much bigger issue, Michael. So
when
please,
you did the seeker review for this, the ramifications on the community, all the different ramifications, quality of life, traffic, all of that was to be done in public. That's what I'm saying.
Michael, if we weren't justified in having attorney-client meetings, we would not be having them. We're holding them as an entire board, which means the entire board must feel there's a reason for it.
If you're discussing the ramifications on the public of this law, we're entitled to know what those are.
There are attorney-client questions that we need to ask of our
This
attorney that
cross-talking
cannot
has to stop.
be responded to
It has to stop.
in a public meeting.
I
Has
apologize,
to stop.
Elizabeth.
Both of you. It's inappropriate.
I'm just saying, unless you're willing to discuss these ramifications in public, it looks as if, and how else could it possibly look, that the only fear you have, you're going into lawyer-client privilege because of litigation, and that's the only impression. That's what you say.
Let me just say that, the majority of the board decides whether or not it's in attorney-client or in public.
And that's fine if that's what the board's deciding, but don't then criticize those of us out here who get the impression, since we have heard nothing from any of you about these ramifications, about the issues you're talking about, not being sued, but about the issues you're talking about. There has been nothing given to us whatsoever about that. Okay, we're asking you right now, Elaine, Bruce, Elizabeth, Joe, Alan, we want to know what these issues are. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to know why you're concerned. We want to know that. So if you can tell us that, yes, that would be a big help, and it would get us beyond just thinking the only thing you're worried about is litigation.
Michael, it seems to me that at previous board meetings, there have been reports. Granted, they've been brief because we haven't had a lot to report about where we're at and what the intentions are. That's separate and apart. There are two different things going on here. That is separate and apart from the attorney-client meetings that we're entitled to hold when it comes to privileged information and questions. We've been doing both. We've been reporting to the public about our progress, and we've been working on moving forward with our attorneys to get all the questions asked that come up. It's put words in people's mouths. I mean, read the news. It's astounding, like I said, to find out what my position is
Elaine,
or what others.
let's not repeat yourself.
Excuse me, Elizabeth.
No,
I'm chairing.
I am chairing this meeting.
It doesn't matter. I'm a board member who has the
You're
right to
repeating
speak as well.
yourself. You are repeating
And
yourself.
it shouldn't be out there that any one of us feel one way or another without asking us first, and that's coming out a lot.
And
So
we're
I don't want it to
asking
come
you.
out that we're concerned with.
This is not productive.
Discussion.
You're right.
Michael, we understand your point.
And I just officially, with Panda and the public, we're asking you, what are your opinions? What are your concerns? What are the ramifications you see to the community that this law could be positive or negative? That is the sort of stuff you're supposed to be deliberating in public. It's not supposed to be behind closed doors. Thank you.
You're welcome. Would anyone like to answer the question? Elaine?
I think I just did it. I think I just exhausted myself answering that question.
I have a question real quick. I don't know, was it in the paper that all of your opinions were of one way or another? Somebody printed that in the newspaper?
There have been various things printed. I know that...
But specifically that you had made up your mind that this was a lawsuit issue.
No, not about the lawsuit issue per se. I'm saying there have been opinions out there in the paper that board members have had that have not been true and that have not been sought. And I've certainly seen it in email flurries too, like I said before. I've seen it in both. I've seen it in the paper where supposedly two board members, unnamed board members, are for it or against it or whatever the case may be. But there are things that are coming out in both the news and through the emails that I know I'm getting to my email from our constituents that suggest that there are opinions that are made that are against or for the law. And then, I mean, listen, we've got them. They're public record. If, you know, do a FOIL. You'll get all the emails.
I'm just curious.
The board hasn't made up its mind.
Right.
Some of us may have made up our mind, Joe. Some of us...
But nobody's discussed it, but I know it's not been discussed with me.
We can discuss it. I think we were asked to discuss it tonight. So it's...
My point is the media, I'm talking about the media and the rumors.
Can I finish? This isn't a judiciary review. We're going to put a law forward. We can give our opinions, we can talk about it, and I think that's up to each board member.
One question. So there was never a point when as a group, and I'm not pointing at any single human being here, as a group you sat down and discussed that you would not have a vote because it was the best way to go. And that never came up.
Our intention has always been to vote on this.
Vote. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Is that a fair answer?
Yeah.
Please come up.
Leslie Duncanberg. I am frankly confused about what the relationship is between you people and the comprehensive plan that took 8 or 9 years to be developed at a significant cost. All that we're asking is for the map to carry out the stated intention in the comprehensive plan. That's why it's so puzzling to us that this is seen as terribly complicated. All we're asking is for the map to be corrected to reflect the comprehensive plan. What are your feelings about the comprehensive plan? This board approved it when Mr. Trout was
This
chairman.
board did not, the town board approved it. It was
Yes.
approved in 2009, and I think only one of us was on the board then. So
is there no implication of a prior board's approval?
the comprehensive plan is a guide to our zoning law. If you're asking me, I support the comprehensive plan and its goals to keep Rhinebeck rural. I support the document. It's a living document, and it guides our zoning law. We look at that when we are revising our zoning law, as we are looking to do in this case. I personally support the goals of the comprehensive plan.
So am I oversimplifying this?
The comprehensive...
Let her finish, Joe.
If each of you felt that you ought to be guided by that plan, I don't see how it's anything but a slam dunk to make the map reflect it. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody, Joe, did you want to say something?
Well, all I want to say is that, and I don't want to get into an extended discussion at this point. The comprehensive plan is clear as mud. The comprehensive plan was adopted on the same night as the zoning law. The map came that same day. Now, what the comprehensive plan really said about mining, it can be argued 3 different ways, and I'm not sure it's even that relevant.
Because
but be assured, before I vote, I will give you my reasons, and I think maybe other board members will. So there'll be full disclosure as to when we're ready. What can I tell you?
Bruce?
I think this delay is because there were a few minor things in the draft law that we caught over the weekend. We got it at 4 o'clock on Friday, and we read it, and we asked some questions today, and I think there's some things, nothing major. As far as the comprehensive plan goes, yes, I believe in the comprehensive plan. I support the comprehensive plan. I think this is an amendment, and I've told Michael and others, I don't think it's a correction, I think it's an amendment. And I think we're further restricting mining in Rhinebeck. And that's the crux of what we're doing. And no matter how you justify it, the end result is we're further restricting mining in Rhinebeck. So that's why it's a little complicated.
Alan, do you have anything to say?
No, other than the fact that I support the general interpretation of the comprehensive plan, not the three ways of reading it.
You support all three ways.
And I'm against large-scale mining in the town, so we'll see what happens.
And we've all said that. Every single board member sitting here has said all those same things. We've all said we support the comprehensive plan and that we're against large-scale mining. But this issue, as Bruce just said, and he's absolutely right about, it is not just correcting a map. It's about further restricting mining, and that's something we have to really look at carefully.
I'll say this for myself, we don't believe this is a correction, we believe this is an amendment. We believe that the way that the map was drawn was intentional, and we're allowed to amend mining, to amend zoning laws, and that's why it's taken us a long time. But we are in agreement that we do not support large-scale industrial mining in the town. I'll go further to say that I support preserving our fragile ecosystem, critical areas, and the environmental issues. There's 5 of us, 2 attorneys. It's taken longer than any of us have thought or wanted, but it's the correct amount of time for a part-time board. Charlie?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I wish I had all my
Come on up.
questions. Charlie,
The Red Wing property sent you a legal notice that they were going to sue, take legal action. And then the Rural Rhinebeck Neighbors Organization had their lawyer, Jason Shaw, drop an answer to that letter. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys all got and read both letters so that it was clear. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just important that both sides are
Had both
represented.
letters. We've defended lawsuits before. The town has defended lawsuits before due to our our zoning law since the enactment. I don't think that's the issue.
no, I just want to...
We got the letters. I read both of them. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? Thank you. Art, thank you for coming. We'll see you next time. I would like to make a motion for Resolution 2015-168, the appointment of acting assessor to fill out the unexpired term on the Board of Assessment Review, Jennifer Mund. May I have a second?
Second.
Jennifer Mund is actually an assessor. She has taught assessors on the state level. She has applied to us to not fill out the remainder of Charlie Wild's term. This board is only allowed to appoint an elected assessor to a 3-month term. The Board of Assessors has asked us to consider appointing her for September, October, and November, as that's a pivotal time for them. She's highly qualified, and we would be lucky to have her. Is there any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Resolution 2015-169. Would anybody like to make a motion?
169, make a motion.
And I'll second it. Any discussion?
Well, just as you see, we got 3 bids for the furnace job. We're recommending, or I'm recommending the low bidder. Both Weston and Sampson and I have independently, with different people, checked the references. I think we probably checked 8 or 9 references. They're all very good. So...
Don't we have to go with the low bidder?
Pardon me?
Don't we have to go with the low bidder?
It's the lowest responsible bidder, that's why we check references.
Our low bid is responsible.
We believe so, based on the references. I see no reason to deviate from that. As I said before, we plan on meeting with him tomorrow to do another walkthrough of here to go over the job, and it will be signed by either you or me tomorrow morning.
Hope it's you.
Depending on who is here.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Resolution 2015-170, settlement of union. I will bring a motion for Resolution 2015-170, settlement of the union grievance, Dan Rushton. May I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
I'm going to
opposed?
abstain on that.
Alan?
Aye.
Aye. An abstention, so moved. Resolution 2015-171, I will make a motion for Resolution 2015-171, appointment to the Conservation Advisory Board. Rachel Hyman, may I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Resolution 2015-172, hiring a part-time planning and zoning secretary. May I have a second?
Second.
I think we have to fill in, though, the
You will.
blanks.
Whereas we have an opening for a part-time secretary to the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Planning Board and the Zoning Enforcement Officer, whereas the board has interviewed several applicants and found that Liz Raum qualified for the job, so be it resolved that Liz Raum is hired as a part-time secretary to the Planning Board and Secretary Zoning Board of Appeals at a starting salary of $12 an hour for a maximum of 26 hours per week. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. New business.
Let me ask a question. Melanie, will you speak to her? Do you want us to speak to?
Why don't you and Ron call her and get going? Wednesday schooling, and we're
Hoping that we can slide her into that.
Yeah.
So we can graduate her.
And I think that board was in favor of her having the same education as the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Planning Board members. So thank you very much for doing all the interviewing, and you brought us some lovely candidates, some very well-qualified people.
Here's a resolution for new business. It's basically housekeeping for the Recreation Department. It's a couple of appointments of instructors and an aquatics director, which we neglected to do, but it's required by the Dutchess County Board of Health, and a Zumba instructor.
Resolution 2015-173, I'll motion it. May I have a second?
Second.
Stipend for Recreation Aquatics Director, per session payment for Recreation Aqua Zumba Instructor. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I have 2 pieces of new business. First is application for filming at the Winecliff Boat Launch. Cully. I'll make a motion for Resolution 2015-174. We received an application to seek permission to film for approximately 1 hour at the Rhinecliff Boat Landing. All the documents are satisfactory. We have certificates of insurance, everything that we've required in the past, a letter of intent, sign off from the police department. They have asked for a reduction of the fee since it's a 1-hour local video shoot for $250. Does anybody have any questions?
I just have a question, we'll listen to...
Oh, who's second? Can somebody second this, please?
Second.
You got to make sure this is not going to interfere with the ferry schedule. That has to be checked out.
We have the applicant here, Roger Tully. Can you come on up?
I can let you know what's going on. We're shooting a commercial for a home care company, and the shot is simply an elderly man and his home care aide sitting on the park bench enjoying the river view. That's it.
So it shouldn't,
It's on a Tuesday night, and the ferry doesn't operate on a Tuesday night. They're Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, correct?
Right.
And you're not using the dock, it's...
No, not at all.
They're
No.
just at the park.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion?
I
Any
have a
questions?
question, actually,
Sure.
and this, I was wondering this about the most recent film, too. The first time we did this, we had paid, or we had the company pay for police at the cemetery, do you remember? And we ended up using, I think, Roger as the staffer who was there on
Gary.
site. Gary, thank you. Gary's what I meant to say. Did we do that last time, and are we still doing that? Because I don't recall there being any discussion.
We did, Gary was there the last time. It was during his normal hours of work. There was no additional fee.
Okay.
If we need a staffer, which I don't think we do.
Okay.
We would ask for them to pay it. That was an all-day shoot.
Right.
This is a 1-hour
Yeah, I was
shoot.
just wondering. Okay.
Is there any further discussion?
Questions?
Nope.
Any questions for the producer? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you
Break
for
a leg,
coming.
right?
Another piece of business, I got an email today from the Department of the State Budget from a Kendra Rubin wanting, sending along the Assembly bill. It's in the Assembly and the Senate. They're identical. This is the Assembly. They just wanted me to take your poll to find out if we are generally in support of establishing, the Star Library has come to us several times at town board meetings and talked to us about their 414, which is the referendum seeking an increase. That will go out to vote whether we approve it or not. The Budget Office is asking us if we support the creation of a different district for the library. So I thought as a discussion item, I would poll you all and let her know.
Didn't we agree on this last year before the budget? We did agree, and then the governor vetoed it.
Yes.
Yes, so I
So,
think we did support it.
If we can, I wanted to, for the record, come out with a support so that I could write her and say the board is behind this. The governor vetoed it, absolutely, after telling them what process to go through.
Yeah, because Steve came here and we all gave our support.
Can I tell them that we are in favor of creating the district?
Sure, why not?
Yep.
You need a
It's not going to go anywhere,
We
but
need a
yeah.
resolution for that, John?
Why don't we do a resolution?
How about a resolution? I'll make a motion for Resolution 2015-175 for me to answer the State Budget Office that the town board is in a unanimous agreement to support the library in its redistricting and to become an independent library district. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Oh, may I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Discussion items, town hall floor cleaning.
I've been talking with Bobby and Dan about stripping this floor and waxing it, and we did it, I think, two or 3 years ago, I think 2 years ago, and it looked very nice.
We did it last year.
What?
We did it last year. 2 weeks before the
Okay.
farmer's market came back in.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember the one that really looked nice, that Dan did. I didn't remember last year's. But I think I'm informed that it will take 3 days. And I will work with John to come up with 3 days. We'll rent the equipment, and for that period, we'll use Dan to do the work. He did very nice work last time, that I remember.
Would it be possible to get some felt pads on the bottoms of these chairs? Because what ruins the floor is pushing the chairs around.
I think you and I are going to see Bobby tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
talk.
Why don't we
Sure, okay.
discuss it with him?
You
I
know,
don't what.
my 2 cents, and I keep saying this, I sound like a broken record, I'm sorry, if the farmer's market is going to be here all winter, I'd like it done that first week in May that they're out of here.
Okay.
And if it means that they have to,
Depends really on what's the schedule is. I don't know what, as I told you, this year, we had the asbestos removal going on.
I would just like to schedule it. As a matter of course, I think we need to, keep our town hall looking as good as it can look. And that's just my opinion.
Okay.
But thank you. You had another discussion item?
Yeah, the September 14 board meeting, it turns out that it's on Rosh Hashanah. And I think we either ought to have it the week before or on Wednesday, the 16th. It's really a 2-day holiday. So I propose we agree on another date. I don't know which is better for people, the 16th or some point the previous week.
I'll propose we go to one meeting that month.
When would that be?
It would be the 28th. Anybody? Do we know if the town hall is available on those days?
15th, I have it reserved for Alice, should we do a web thing that evening. What were the other days?
The either 15th or some point the previous week.
7th is Labor Day, the 8th is good. 9th, we have court. 10th is primary day. And the 11th is a Friday.
So Tuesday, the 8th?
I'm not going to be here on the 8th, but you don't have to hold it up for me. I mean,
Well, but it also would be the meeting we'd get to the mining overlay.
Oh, you're right. Well, I won't be available on the 8th.
So then I think we got to put it over.
Pardon me?
I think then we got to put it over to the 28th.
To the 15th?
What?
Or I'm sorry, the 28th.
Well, we're just not have a meeting.
We'll go to one meeting. Everybody, 28th.
Okay.
Will you let Shelley know?
So canceling the meeting on the 14th.
Yes. Any public comment on non-agenda items? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.